In a forgotten village nestled between jagged mountains, a child once asked her grandfather, "Where does the light go when the night swallows the sun?" The old man, his eyes clouded with cataracts but his soul sharp as a blade, replied, "It never leaves, little one. It waits in the hollows of your heart, in the silence between breaths. Seek it there." Years later, the child, now a woman named Amara, would remember those words as she stood at the edge of despair, her world shrouded in grief. Her journey to reclaim the light would become a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the boundless depths of divine grace. Amara had always been a seeker. As a scholar in the bustling city of Luminara, she devoured texts on philosophy, astronomy, and theology, convinced that knowledge was the key to transcendence. But when her father, a humble stonemason, died in a quarry collapse, her intellectual armor cracked. She buried herself in work, translating ancient manuscripts until one brittle scroll changed everything. Its cryptic verses spoke of a mythical mountain called Elysian, where the veils between worlds grow thin and the soul remembers its purpose. Skeptical yet desperate, Amara sold her books, packed a satchel, and vanished into the mist-shrouded peaks. The climb nearly broke her. Snowstorms clawed at her resolve. Cliffs mocked her with their indifference. On the third night, as wolves circled her campfire, a stranger emerged from the darkness, a wraith-like monk with eyes like smoldering coals. "You seek Elysian," he rasped, "but the mountain does not yield to ambition. It demands surrender." He vanished at dawn, leaving a single lotus flower etched into her palm. Amara realized then that her journey was not about conquering the mountain, but about dismantling the fortress she'd built around her heart. Weeks later, Amara reached a cavern veined with bioluminescent crystals. Inside, visions assaulted her. Her father's final moments, her mother's silent tears, her own reflection warped into a stranger. The walls pulsed with a voice that was hers, and yet not hers. "You run from pain, but pain is the chisel that carves you into something sacred." She collapsed, weeping, as memories she'd buried, her mother's lullabies, her father's calloused hands teaching her to carve stone, flooded back. The cave did not judge. It held her as a mother holds a child. When she emerged, her steps were lighter, her purpose clearer. At the mountain summit, she found the monk again, Kale, a hermit who tended a perpetual flame in a crumbling temple. He spoke in riddles. "The flame you seek is not in the sky, but in the ashes of what you've burned away." Under his guidance, Amara fasted, meditated, and confronted her deepest fear, that she was unworthy of love. One night, as Kale tossed a scroll into the fire, she panicked. "That was my last map," she cried. He smiled. "The map was never the path. The path is your breath, your heartbeat, your willingness to fall and rise." The flames spelled out a truth she'd always known. You are the light you seek. Enlightenment, Amara discovered, was not an endpoint but a beginning. Kale sent her back to the world below, not as a scholar, but as a healer. She returned to Luminara, where famine and war had festered in her absence. Using her voice, once timid, now unshakable, she rallied the people. She taught them to find abundance in scarcity, courage in fear, and divinity in each other. When skeptics demanded proof of her mountain magic, she handed them mirrors. "Look closely," she said. "What you seek is already here." Years later, an old woman sat beneath a fig tree, her hands calloused from tending gardens and souls. A child approached, clutching a dying sparrow. "It's broken," the child whimpered. Amara cupped the bird gently, her touch radiating warmth. "Nothing that's broken can't be mended," she whispered. The sparrow stirred, then soared. As the child gasped, Amara smiled. The light she'd once sought in temples and stars now blazed in the simplest of moments. A beating wing, a tear transformed into laughter, the unyielding truth that even in darkness, we are never alone. The luminous path is not a destination, but the footprints we leave when we choose love over fear, presence over perfection, and the sacred ordinary over the illusion of grandeur. Wherever you are, whatever you face, remember, the light is not lost. It is waiting, in the breath you just took, the hand you can still reach out, and the quiet, unbreakable truth that you, too, are part of the eternal flame.